Hello my students of class 7. Today I am going to continue with the story Quality, which we have already started in the online class. Okay, so take out your books and take out page number 75. Quality by John Galsworthy deals with the professional and as well as really artistic skill of a man whose name is Mr. Gessler. Mr. Gessler owns a little shop in London and he makes lovely shoes which fit perfectly. The narrator comes to the shop of Mr. Gessler quite often because he feels drawn towards that man, not just because he is a great shoemaker but also because he has a lot of respect for him. Okay, now we have done till that point when Mr. Gessler understood that the narrator had come into his shop wearing shoes made by a big firm. Okay, that means he understood that the boots which he had worn into the shop did not belong to him, and so he was feeling a little bad about it. And then he also expressed his bitterness towards the large firms which takes away the business from authentic shoemakers like himself. Okay, so come to page number 75. I'm going to start from the beginning of this page. If you have not followed the class, please check the YouTube video which has been uploaded of this chapter. Okay, so they get it all. He said they get it by advertisement, not by work. Not by work. They take it away from us who love our boots. It comes to this presently, I have no work. Every year it gets less. You will see. Okay, so he understands. He tries to tell the narrator that because of these large shops which advertises so widely and they are able to hold on to customers only because they advertise so well, not because they have an expertise in shoemaking. So just because of their business-like attitude, they are getting all the orders from the customers, and because of them the job is being, that means for him it is really bad because those kind of big firms are taking away his customers as well, and he has to suffer a lot because of that. He also admits to the narrator that in that present moment of, that means at which they were having the conversation, this man didn't have any work at all. Okay, he didn't have anything to do, he didn't have any order, so he was out of job, and he was just telling him that it gets less and less every year. And looking at his lined face, I saw things I had never noticed before. Bitter things and bitter struggle. And what a lot of grey hairs there seemed suddenly in his red beard. So just looking at the man, the narrator could feel the pressure he was under. He was under immense pressure because he was not getting the proper amount of orders that should sustain his livelihood. But moreover, he was also feeling stressed out, not just because he was not getting money, but because his work was not being appreciated, as well as the work of the large firms which didn't even make shoes for the comfort of the customers. Okay, that's why he seemed very stressed out. And the narrator also noticed that this man was looking really worn out and looking very old. As best I could, I explained the circumstances of those ill-omened boots, but his face and voice made so deep an impression that during the next few minutes I ordered many pairs. They lasted longer than ever, and I was not able to go to him for nearly 2 years. So because he felt so guilty about wearing those shoes, he tried to explain to Mr. Gessler why he had exactly bought those shoes. However, Mr. Gessler did not really care about the story, and the narrator still felt really bad for the guy, and so he ordered a lot of boots. We can understand that the narrator was buying boots not out of compulsion but rather out of compassion. He felt bad for this man and he wanted to appreciate his work, to show him that there was at least one customer who cared for you. And so he bought a lot of shoes which lasted very long, because of which he did not visit him for the next 2 years, for nearly 2 years. It was many months before my next visit to his shop. This time it appeared to be his elder brother handling a piece of leather. Well, Mr. Gessler, how are you? I'm pretty well. But my elder brother is dead. So it was not his elder brother but Mr. Gessler himself who greeted the narrator, but because he looked so old and so tired that it seemed to him that it was his elder brother. And I saw that it was indeed himself, but how aged and wan. Wan means weak. Okay, he looked very weak, he looked very aged, he looked as if he was suffering. And never before had I heard him mention his brother. Much shocked, I murmured, "Oh, I'm sorry." So obviously when you hear the death of somebody, you obviously have to say that you are sorry. "Yes," he answered, "he was a good man. He made a good boot. But he's dead." And he touched the top of his head where the hair had suddenly gone as thin as it had been on that of his poor brother. His hair had also gone thin, which was another indication that he was suffering from a lot of stress and anxiety, because of which probably his hair was falling, and it was not even because of his age. Okay, just a few, that means it was not just for his age, but because of his pressure, the pressure under which he was working. Because of that, he looked much more older. Okay, and he touched the top of his head like this, just to show maybe he had got some kind of problem in the brain. Maybe he had a stroke, or maybe he fell down or something. "I suppose the cause of his death. Do you want any boots?" And he held up the leather in his hand. "It's a beautiful piece." He admired the leather which was in his hand, and he asked the narrator whether he wanted to give some order for some shoes. I ordered several pairs. It was very long before they came, but they were better than ever. One simply could not wear them out. That means no matter how much you wear it, they did not get bad. Wearing something out means to make it overuse something. Okay, to overuse something so that the quality gets bad, gets less than before. That is wearing something out here. But he made such lovely pairs of shoes that even though he wore it several times, they did not grow bad. They did not go bad. And soon after that, I went abroad. Soon after that interaction, he went abroad. It was over a year before I was again in London, and the first shop I went to was my old friend's. I had left a man of 60. I came back to one of 75, pinched and worn. Means he looked very, very old and sickly. He looked very sick. He looked very tired, exhausted, as if life had worn him out. Okay, as if life was so hard on him that his age was also increasing much, much more than what his biological age was. He looked much older than that. Who genuinely did not recognize me at first. He did not even recognize the narrator at first. And then he said, "Do you want any boots? I can make them quickly." It is a slack time. Okay, it's a very slack time. That means slow. Work is very slow. I don't have any orders right now, so I can make your boots very fast. I answered, "Please, please, I want boots all around, every kind." So he ordered so many boots out of pity for the man. He felt really bad for his friend who was suffering so much, and he wanted to help him in any way possible. And he knew that the self-respect of Mr. Gessler would prevent him from accepting money directly from the narrator. That's why he ordered boots. He knew the only way he could give him some money was to order some shoes from him. I had given those boots up when one evening they came. One by one I tried them on. In shape and fit, in finish and quality of leather, they were the best he had ever made. I flew downstairs. Flew downstairs means hurried downstairs. Okay, from his room he came downstairs. He wrote a check and posted it at once with my own hand. So he hurriedly gave the money also to Mr. Gessler. A week later, passing the little street, I thought I would go in and tell him how splendidly the new boots fit. But when I came to where his shop had been, his name was gone. I went in very much disturbed. He was obviously disturbed. He was coming here in an anxious manner just to tell his friend Love how nice your boots have been, just to compliment him for that. But he saw that even the name of the shop was changed. In the shop, there was a young man with an English face. That means he was a native Englishman, not like Mr. Gessler was a German. Okay, he was a German. He had come and settled there. But this was an English man. And he said, Mr. Gessler in? No, sir. No, but we can attend to anything with pleasure. We have taken the shop over. We have taken the shop over. It was a very bad, sad thing to hear for the narrator. Yes, yes. But Mr. Gessler? Oh, he answered, dead. Dead? But I only received these boots from him last Wednesday week. That is just last week on Wednesday I received these boots from him. How can he be dead so soon? Ah, he said. Poor old man starved himself. Slow starvation, the doctor called it. That is, he went without food for a long period of time. That is what starvation is, going without food. Okay, so he starved himself. Maybe he didn't even have sufficient money to buy food. That's why he was forced to starve himself. You see, he went to work in such a way. That is, whenever he started working, he was so much absorbed in the work that he forgot about everything else. Would keep the shop on, wouldn't have a soul touch his boots except himself. And he was such a respectable man, he had so much self-pride and self-respect that he wouldn't even give up the shop or go into any association with somebody else. He would just own the shop on his own, and he would simply do everything on his own. He wouldn't even let anybody help him. When he got an order, it took him such a time. People won't wait. And because he took a lot of time, because obviously he worked single-handedly, he couldn't trust anybody with the boots. He loved the art so much that he didn't even keep a worker for him. So what happened, the customers were obviously not going to wait for him, and so they left one by one. He lost everybody, and there he would sit, going on and on. I will say that for him, not a man in London made a better boot. I can say it for sure that there wasn't a person in London who made a better boot than Mr. Gessler. But look at the competition. He never advertised. Would have the best leather too, and do it all himself. Well, there it is. What could you expect with his ideas? So he always ordered the best leather, the best quality of everything. He wouldn't keep any worker, so he worked on certain ideas of perfection. And obviously it made it really difficult for him to survive, because he couldn't keep the customers, obviously because he couldn't give them the shoes in time, and they left it and they went to those large firms, okay, which advertised widely as well. But starvation? But how can he starve himself? That may be a bit flowery, as the saying is. That may be a bit flowery means maybe I'm just saying it in a good manner. I'm just saying it in a good manner that he starved himself. The reality was that he was forced to go without food. He did not do it on his own, but it was like he didn't have much money for buying food. But I know myself, he was sitting over his boots day and night to the very last, you see, probably making the boots which the narrator had ordered for him. So this was so pathetic for the narrator to hear that maybe Mr. Gessler was working on his boots without food. So this was really sad. I used to watch him. Never gave himself time to eat. Never had a penny in the house. All went in rent and leather. So whatever money he had, he would give the rent of the shop, and obviously he would buy the best quality leather. How he lived so long, I don't know. He regularly let his fire out. That means he didn't even get the fireplace burning properly just to save the money. He was a character. That means he was a unique person. He was a very unique character. Okay. I mean, somebody who didn't have an equal. He was very distinct personality. But he made good boots, and he also made really good boots. Yes, I said he made good boots. So this is the last impression which the author leaves us with about Mr. Gessler. And here we come to an end of this lovely story, a fascinating story of a fascinating man whose life was given to his profession. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed, you obviously liked reading the story. Try to attempt the question answers on your own. They are quite easy, and obviously I'll help you with it. And if you have any difficulty, do let me know in the online classes. Thank you, students.